Hey guys, I'm Raymond the Swift, and today I'm going to talk to you guys about some fitness stuff. One of the most important things you can possibly do as a potential foam fighter is develop your physique and your musculature to withstand the rigors of martial combat and stuff like that. It doesn't really matter what type of martial arts you do, it's just really important to strengthen your body. So for steel fighting and really for foam fighting, one of the best possible tools you can use and that I've found that works best for me is actually using an Indian Gada mace. This is a one-handed version and there's a two-handed version. The difference is just usually called an Indian club versus an Indian mace. So the two-handed version is going to be typically called a mace. The one-handed version being a club. Depending on what type of fighting you do, one or the other is going to be more beneficial to you. For foam sports, I swing a one-handed axe in steel fighting, and for foam sports, I fight single sword, or I fight sword and shield or two sword. And really the benefit is if you're fighting in a unilateral fashion, such as fighting with a one-handed implement, using the Gada Club is going to be really, really, really good for you. And what this does is basically strengthens all the supporting muscles around your shoulder. It's not just one or two muscles. What people often get wrong about fighting is that they'll only ever strengthen their biceps, their extensors and their flexors and their triceps a little bit, but they don't strengthen the shoulder capsule muscles or anything like that. What is exactly the shoulder capsule? So the shoulder capsule is basically, you're gonna have your delts, and then you basically have your rotator cuff, and your lats, and your teres major, teres minor, stuff like that. And all these muscles usually get neglected. I don't see a lot of people training their posterior chain or anything like that. So what the Gada mace does, better than most exercises that you'll typically find, since it's a non-conventional implement, is it actually strengthens all the things that you need for that. And it also helps mobilize those things and helps strengthen them. And what that basically allows you to do is instead of when you're doing something like this, where you're maybe extending and that shoulder and your whole arm is basically at risk of overextension, what this does is it'll help maintain your shoulder capsules to your clavicle and your scapula and make sure it remains in the same position that it needs to so that it's stabilized. When I'm swinging, this whole thing is stabilized, right? So how do you use this? I basically have two movements that I do for each. I do them on both hands. I do 25 repetitions of each one. So basically the first, I'll just explain what they are. You have across your body and you have to the outside of your body. And what this looks like is basically I'm gonna take this mace, right? It's my starting position. From the side, I'm gonna drop this behind me, right? And basically I'll just show you the starting position essentially. This is essentially my starting position. What I wanna do is I want to work on starting to swing this, and say if I'm going to the outside, this would have dropped behind me, and I'm going to swing it across my back and up over my head. Inversely, same starting position. If this was swinging across my body, I would be starting like this, and then I would swing back like that. So that's just an easy starting position. I would definitely start there if you need to, but basically it looks like this. So I'm going to start by 25 to the outside. And see how my arm reaches this end range of motion here? It's the most possible stretch position that you find. And what it does is basically from this position, I'm going to work on my mobility of my lats, my serratus, my tricep. I'm stretching all of this, and then I'm swinging back, and I'm using them now to stretch back and contract back into place. So if I do 25 like this, I do 25 this direction. Imagine I just did 25. I switch hands, I do 25. Switch directions, and I do 25 this way. This by itself, just using this Gada mace or Gada club, you can also use a sledgehammer. We use those a lot too. This has been the single best implement I've ever used in my entire experience of physical fitness and training to get my shoulders strong for sword fighting. So the two-handed version is basically, this is a little 10-pound one. So this 10-pound one, I'm gonna hold it hands apart, hands width apart like this. Again, I can use the same starting position with my hands over my head like this. Imagine this being behind me. Again, I can use my head as an anchor point to start swaying this. So I start swaying, come up. I can start swaying, come up. And really, again, just like the other one, I would do 100 repetitions. I would do 25 like this, 25 like this, then I switch hands, 25, 25, okay? Use them both. You can honestly do this every single day if you wanted to, and actually I'd recommend it as a part of your recovery, as a part of your workout. You could use even heavier ones to really develop your serratus, your lats, and your strength of your core, because as you go to swing this, your core is having to stabilize and balance, and your arms are having to grip the bar as it's swinging with momentum behind your head. Some centrifugal force. So if I get a heavier one, right, I can grab this 20-pound one and do the exact same thing, and now I can turn it into a strength movement. Basically, I'm going to stand here, shoulders width apart, feet shoulders width apart. I'm going to keep my head on the ground. As I do this, I'm going to try to do an abbreviated motion. So instead of doing the full range, I'm actually going to drop it short behind me. I'm going to turn it into a big pullover. And you can do even crazier stuff. That's only 20 pounds. If you get really good at it, you can start using big chunky ones like this. I think this is 45 pounds. You can start doing big ass ones like this. These are really hard. Let me see if I can still do it for you real quick. All right, let's try some strength reps. So right here, don't laugh at me when I fail. It'd be very embarrassing for me. Oh shit. Oh, I hit my leg. Don't worry, I'll try to finish that rep for you. Oh God, it's so heavy. Anyway, try working this into your program. I'm dead serious. This is probably the best implement possible to strengthen your overall fitness for foam fighting and steel fighting sports. We've been having a lot of guys at our gym work these in, and they're just phenomenal. This really saved my shoulder from having shoulder impingement when I was about 25. These are pretty good. Anyway, guys, that's been Gada Mace and Gada Clubs. Go out and get one. You can make one out of concrete and dowel rod. Like, this is just concrete and dowel. That one's a piece of rattan with concrete. All you need is something to hold the concrete inside of it, and you can make your own. Anyway, guys, I'll check you later. It's been real.